I will say again, if it were not for Thomas Massie, Ro Khanna, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, we do not get here. And I'll continue to say that because I didn't see anybody else in Congress trying to fight and push for justice for the Epstein victims and demanding that the DOJ unredact these names. So Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna made a statement yesterday that they went to the DOJ and said, you need to redact these 6 names. There's 6 of them. And you need to do it or we're going to announce it publicly anyway. So let's see how that went. And people are shocked and awe right now. This was the press conference right after Congress started to review the unredacted files.
It was appropriate to take them back down from the website.
Are these men U.S. citizens? What fields do they work in? Is it finance? Is it political?
At least one is a U.S. citizen. At least one is a foreigner. And the other 3 or 4 have names. I'm not sure if they're foreign or U.S.
And which field do they work in? Is it finance, banking, political?
One is pretty high up in the foreign government,
and some are. They're one of the others is a pretty prominent individual. But I think that the point is that these 6 are just what we found in 2 hours of a review of the files that aren't redacted. The broader issue is why so many of the files that they're getting are redacted in the first place. And until that becomes unredacted, the main things that they're sending to the career attorneys to review, I don't think we're going to have full compliance with the law, get to the question that most Americans want to know. Who were the rich and powerful people who went to this island? Did they rape underage girls? Did they know that underage girls were being paraded around? And after seeing this, I don't blame the U.S. attorneys, the assistant U.S. attorneys reviewing it. If they're reviewing redacted material, what are they supposed to do? But they're getting, it seems like, material that's already been redacted.
Yeah. So the names that, and I would argue there's still other names that need to be unredacted as well. The whole idea was that the victims would be redacted because you don't want to put them in any more danger because not everyone in the Epstein files came forward publicly as a victim. But what they essentially did is they also redacted all the names of the abusers or potential alleged abusers as well. And people called a spade a spade. So Ro Khanna on the floor dropped those 6 names. And I'm going to tell you who some of these people are.
Congressman Massie and I went to the Department of Justice to read the unredacted Epstein files. We spent about 2 hours there. And we learned that 70 to 80% of the files are still redacted. In fact, there were 6 wealthy, powerful men that the DOJ hid for no apparent reason. When Congressman Massie and I pointed this out to the Department of Justice, they acknowledged their mistake. And now they have revealed the identity of these 6 powerful men. These men are Salvatore Navora, Zorab Mikaladze, Leopig Leonor, Nicola Caputa, Sultan Ahmed bin Sulayem, CEO of Dubai Ports World, and billionaire businessman Leslie Wexner.
So a lot of you already know Leslie Wexner. He's been discussed for quite some time. I'm going to go through these individually to explain to you who these people are in just a second, right? But here are the names if you want to see them written: Salvatore Nora, Narab Mikaladze, Lutnik Linov, Nicola Caputo, Sultan Salehem, Leslie Wexner. Again, these are not all of the names. They're still protecting quite a bit of people. But it was Monday night that Thomas Massie said, fuck this, and he went on to CNN and he dropped one of the names. So he went on CNN, and this was a kind of a way, I guess, he basically pushed back against the DOJ. He went on CNN and he dropped Les Wexner's name, who, by the way, I've been wondering for years why this dude is not in jail. Les Wexner has just been walking around freely, and that is so important because when you talk about where Epstein got his money from, that is Les Wexner. Les Wexner. He is also the one that gave Jeffrey Epstein power of attorney. A lot of these roads lead back to him. He's alive. He's living in the United States. So him of all people, his ass should have been brought to Congress a long time ago. So he dropped that last night.
An example of something, maybe it wasn't intentional on their part. I'd like to hear his take on the redaction of the CEO, who's listed as a co-conspirator in the 2019 child sex trafficking case.
So can I ask you, because, and I want to ask if this is the same person, Todd Blanche also said about that tonight that the document you're citing there has victim names in it.
Correct.
Seeming to say that's why there are redactions. He said, we have just unredacted Les Wexner's name from this document, but his name already appears in the file thousands of other times. And he says the Justice Department is hiding nothing. Is that the retired CEO that you're referencing?
It is. He unredacted it after I found it. That's a problem. And I'm glad they've admitted they made a mistake by redacting that.
So you're saying it was redacted when you went in there today, and after you tweeted that, they unredacted it?
Correct. Now he's got 4 other names he needs to unredact. Did he respond to that? There's a list of 20 people. And there's 4 men in there that need to be unredacted. Here's another troubling thing that I found.
Can you say who those 4 men are tonight?
I don't think they're well known. And so if I did, it wouldn't matter, but I could probably say them on the floor of the House. But I'll give the DOJ a chance to do what they did in these 2 examples, where I've discovered something and now they've responded.
Yeah, so there's legal issues with some of this as well. Like, I'll show you why also the victims didn't want to name names, because they could be sued into oblivion. It could bankrupt them. That's why they haven't just started dropping names like that. But Les Wexner, who's one of the 6 that's on that list there, we're talking about the guy who owned the Limited Group. This is the guy who owned these stores like Victoria's Secret and also the Limited. I think at one point Bath and Body Works was also a part of the Limited Group. I'm not sure if it still is anymore. But it looks like Victoria does not have a secret anymore. Maybe the Epstein trafficking was Victoria's secret. You know what I'm saying? Because the secret is out of the bag. This guy, again, billionaire, resides in Ohio. There's so much that goes into Les Wexner that I have to do a separate video about it, because it's not just about Epstein and the island and the trafficking. It's also about Ohio State University. This guy is involved in so many different things, and there's issues there as well. So I'll have to do a separate segment on him, but this is him. That is Les Wexner, who is, last time I checked, is alive and well in the United States, just walking around very freely. He's the one that really put Epstein on the map. He's the one who gave Jeffrey Epstein money. Some said and alluded to that there was a possible, maybe allegedly, relationship between the 2 of them. He's the one that models came to and said Jeffrey Epstein was sexually harassing them, was approaching them. They complained to Les Wexner before that whole island even kicked off. And Les Wexner just turned the other cheek. So a lot of this goes back to this guy. You got to have some type of interest, I guess, romantically in the other person. I don't know any other man that just goes out giving another dude millions and millions of dollars just to start what type of business or whatever he wants to do with no damn strings attached. We go on more when we break down these names. Salvatore Nora. This guy, and I double checked this as well, so it's not just Grok. I looked all these up. Salvatore Nora, this guy was a former NYPD detective. He was disciplined for escort service ties he was rumored to be in Epstein's black book. So you have a police officer. Let's go to Zurab. Zurab, Georgian doctor or researcher, Epstein connection unclear. He's one that was hard to find information on myself. Leonid Lenov, likely, we're not sure. Leonard Lenov, Soviet novelist, 1899 to 1994, no evident Epstein link. And I'm not certain that that's the same person, but when I searched this name, I couldn't find anything. Niccolo Caputo. Some of you might be familiar with this one. He was an Italian politician. He was a former member of the European Parliament. His term ended in 2019. He's still alive and kicking. This one is probably another one is really damning. I'm going to show you about. Sultan Ahmad bin Salayem. He is an Emirati businessman of DP World CEO. He exchanged emails with Epstein. He didn't just exchange emails with Epstein. That is the guy that sent that infamous email that said the torture video. That's who that came from. He's in Dubai. So when I said this was global, this is global. And by the way, I honestly, seriously, don't want people to think that just because these files are being released, that this stopped. I still believe that people are being trafficked today. They can create another Epstein just like that. And of course, Les Wexner, U.S. billionaire, L Brands founder, Epstein's financial manager from 1987 to 2007. That's how long he knew Jeffrey Epstein. So like I said, it goes way back. Nicola Caputo, here's a picture of him here. Again, this guy served in the European Parliament. He is one of the 6 people that is listed as an alleged co-conspirator. So you got a politician, you got a police officer, and you have a politician. Sultan Ahmad, who I was just telling you about, prominent Emirati businessman. This is the guy that said he loved the child torture videos, according to the Epstein files. So this guy was just speaking at the World Economic Forum. These are the powerful people who are making decisions and don't get caught doing crimes. He was just there. And it's not the first time that he's been at the World Economic Forum. He's a frequent speaker. He's part of the group deciding what to do with our lives. Our lives. Let's go to the next one here. I want to make sure I'm not going to a repeat. Let's get to the Thomas Massie part because there's more to discuss here. Thomas Massie had a back and forth here with Todd Blanche. He said, in response to my ex post today, the DOJ unredacted FBI file that labels 2 individuals as co-conspirators, unredacted a file that lists several men who might be implicated, tactically admitted that Sultan Ahmed was the sender of the torture video. This guy should be locked up immediately. That is absolutely insane. Massie goes on to say this is significant because Kash Patel testified to Congress that FBI had no evidence of other sex traffickers. This is the FBI's own 2019 document listing Wexner as a co-conspirator in child sex trafficking. It wasn't unredacted until tonight. And he's responding to Todd Blanche, who's been a complete liar ass. He said, you looked at the document, you know it's an email address that was redacted. The law requires redactions for personally identifiable information, including if in an email address, and you know that the Sultan's name is available unredacted in the files. See this number, be honest, stop grandstanding. So that's Todd Blanche here. And Even Community Notes had to call him out. It says the Epstein Files Transparency Act allows redaction of P2 only in very narrow circumstances, such as unwarranted invasion of privacy or the risk of jeopardizing a federal investigation. So he received a community note there. But the reality is Todd Blanche is lying, because Todd Blanche didn't even unredact the names until the pressure came from Thomas Massie and Ro Khanna. Now he's out here acting like, well, it was there all along. It was there all along, and the name was redacted. Do you see how these people just continuously lie? I want to take you back, just a reminder, at what Todd Blanche said at the very beginning about these files before this latest dump.
Thank you. You said this is the end of the Epstein, of your review of the Epstein files. So just to clarify, is the public going to learn the identities of the men who abused the girls with the information that you're releasing? And if not, why not? And then I have a quick follow-up.
I mean, you just baked in an assumption into your question that I have never said and I don't know to be true. Is the public going to learn about men that abuse these girls? Like, what does that mean? I mean, I don't understand what that means.
Now, all of a sudden, he doesn't understand English.
Well, I mean, they're the men who abused the young women through Epstein's,
Look, we said in July, and it remains as true today as it was in July. If we had information, we meaning the Department of Justice, about men who abused women, we would prosecute them, right? We talked about the work that we're doing. That's why I said that. I said this earlier. There's this built-in assumption that somehow there's this hidden tranche of information of men that we know about that we're covering up or that we're choosing not to prosecute. That is not the case. I don't know whether there are men out there that abuse these women.
You see, they can't even cover up their own lies, ladies and gentlemen. He made you believe, well, we don't know. If we had that information, of course we would prosecute them. Guys, they had this information the whole time. That information has been sitting there for a long, long time. And they sat there and they lied, like, repeatedly. Thomas Massie comes back and says, until tonight, no one knew who sent the torture video to Epstein. I went to the DOJ, unredacted the email, and reverse searched the email to discover it was a sultan. Our law requires victims' information to be redacted, not information of men who sent Epstein torture porn. I have to tell you guys, I've seen some things in my life, and I've seen a lot of lying coming from the government and politicians. But this one by far, I think, has been the absolute worst. These people are acting like Todd Blanche is pretending as if his ass wasn't just recorded a couple of days ago. As if he was not on record saying, well, if we had the information. They had it the whole time. Kash Patel and them had it as well. Let's get to some other people that are in these files. Howard Lutnik was called to testify in front of Congress. This is someone who was also Jeffrey Epstein's neighbor. This guy is a part of the Trump administration. Howard Lutnik is probably one of the worst because he actually went to the island. Listen to this.
In his apartment, said you were disgusted, would never have any contact with him again. Did you, in fact, make the visit to Jeffrey Epstein's private island?
I did have lunch with him as I was on a boat going across on a family vacation. My wife was with me, as were my 4 children and nannies. I had another couple they were there as well with their children, and we had lunch on the island. That is true, for an hour, and we left with all of my children, with my nannies and my wife all together. We were on family vacation. We were not apart. To suggest there was anything untoward about
in his apartment.
So Howard got a little bit of a problem, right? Because you see all these people, well, I didn't know he was like that. And then when I found out, I realized he was creepy. I didn't have anything to do with him anymore. Melinda Gates said the first time she met him, he was evil personified. You lived next door to him. Let's go to the next part here, Eric. Lived next door to him, Howard Lutnik. Howard Lutnik lived next door to Jeffrey Epstein. But he claimed to know nothing about nothing. And then this guy took his children to the island. He's probably one of the ones that's in the most damning position, because the excuse a lot of people have been able to use is that they never went to that island. He can't say that because it's in the files. Here he is confronted here.
People about your interactions with Epstein? Did you have any financial involvement with Jeffrey Epstein? Why did you keep contact with Jeffrey Epstein after he pled guilty to sex crimes?
Come on, give us some space. Give us some space.
What do you say to the Democrats calling on for you to resign?
Give us some space.
Mr. Epstein, people of your level in the British government have been forced to resign. Will you resign?
Give us some space. Give us some space.
Why did you keep contact with Jeffrey Epstein after he pled guilty?
I look forward to testifying today.
Did you mischaracterize your relationship with him?
Some space.
Why did you say you found him gross but still kept in contact with him?
What do you say to those who are calling for you to resign now?
Are you willing to speak to Congress about this?
I'm going to speak to Congress right now.
Do you expect to be asked about Epstein?
This is one of the more damning things, right? The people who chose to continue to hang out with him and keep in contact with him after the conviction. And these are the people you really have to like look at further. You know, like some people are like, I knew him back in 2007, then I never saw him again. The people who continue to have a relationship with him after, very suspect. Howard Lutnik needs to resign. He also needs, in my opinion, he needs to go to jail. Alan Dershowitz is out there losing his shit. He's mad. Marjorie Taylor Greene here, she said that this right here is exactly why the Epstein victims are afraid to publicly name the list of rich, powerful men. They will get sued, bankrupt, and silenced. Releasing all of the Epstein files reveals the truth about everyone. And so I'll show you what Alan Dershowitz said here. He's pissed.
Because since the 1950s, I want you to look at this paper that has been reproduced and sent by the Justice Department. It's called Prominent Names. And it's a list of prominent people who have been accused. Every single name of every accuser has been blacked out. So, for example, let's turn to me. It says blank, 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 blacked out, stated she gave him a massage on Epstein's plane, parenthesis, not a minor. So let's understand that. This is an adult. A woman who was on Epstein's plane, she says, I was never on an Epstein plane with a young woman.
Right.
I never got a massage. This is total defamation, a total lie.
I'm confused. When he was on Kim Iverson's show, now he's saying he never got a massage. But when he was on Kim Iverson's show, he said he did get a massage. So is he just saying he didn't get a massage on the plane? He wasn't on the plane. You know, nobody was on the plane, but they were there. Like, you know, what did you do? Fly? Did you like flap your arms to get to Jeffrey Epstein's like island or whatever? Like, I just don't believe this. All these people are like, I wasn't on the plane. We were just business partners. Oh, there's a picture of you hanging out with them here on the beach. Oh, whoops. I mean, yeah, I only hung out that one time, but I wasn't on the island. Picture here shows that this was actually the island. Oh, damn. Yeah, I was on the island, but you know, I was only there on business. Yeah. People tripping all over their words.
But I can't disprove it because they won't give me her name. That's McCarthyism on the issue of his spying okay, well, let me continue.
Let's get
on
to
the issue of his for the Mossad. That comes from what is called an undercover confidential source. I happen to know who the source is. The source is somebody who the FBI investigated, found to be totally incredible, lacked all credibility. This is the worst form of McCarthyism. Why are we tolerating this? Why are we allowing accusations without the names of the accusers? For example, in my case, it's
who's we? Like he's ranting here on Newsmax. Who is we? Because the way I see it, there's no we in this equation. You're sitting there on the media. So what is he saying? He's like, the media shouldn't talk about this anymore. Second of all, yeah, victims do have a right to have their name redacted. And for this reason, the way that he's behaving right now, this is why they have not come forward with names. The women didn't come forward with names because they knew something like this would happen.
An adult woman. We don't know whether she's a victim. We don't know whether she's a perpetrator. We don't know whether she's a co-conspirator. Why do you hide her name and produce the name of the people who are accused? That's guilt by accusation. That's guilt by association. It's McCarthyism. It's wrong. It's unconstitutional. It has to stop. And the media is playing a role in this. Politicians are playing a role in this. Epstein will never
Let
be
me jump
remembered
in for a second.
He will be remembered for inciting McCarthyism that infects America now more than it ever has since the 1950s. It has to stop.
But I thought you said Epstein was innocent. You represented him. No? Everybody's losing their shit because of a big shakedown. We have another person I think you should pay close attention to here. Did you guys know that the owner of The Atlantic was buddy with Ghislaine Maxwell? Here she is. See, everybody's shit coming out. So when you read the media, you know what I'm saying? This is important. They just put out an article in The Atlantic telling people, well, basically the Epstein files are just a lot of conspiracy. You don't think that propaganda, the message that was just released by The Atlantic, you don't think that had anything to do with the relationship that she had with Ghislaine Maxwell? This is how people get protected. And then check this out. Her name is Laurene Powell. She was one of Kamala Harris's biggest bankrollers and closest friends. So you see what I'm saying? That's why I say the Epstein files are bipartisan. This is a class issue. You have group of elites who exploited and abused underage people. You have Epstein, who was a spy, basically for Israel, and he collected blackmail on people. It is one big damn club. Shout out to Professor Zinkis for this one. See? So you got the media in the same club with the woman right now who's in jail asking for a fucking pardon. All of these people roll together. Here's another thing that was revealed recently from the files. You guys have got to hear this, especially if you pay for the school pictures. Life Touch photo is in the Epstein files. Why are they in there?
Factualicans, did y'all see that the Life Touch photo company, the one that be involved in all y'all kids' school pictures damn near? Did y'all see that they was in them files, bro? How do you explain that shit, bro? What do y'all think they was doing with those pictures and information? Because when you go to pay for your kids' pictures and you fill out that form and send it back to them, you send them your address, you send them your kid's name, I think your height, description, I think even a phone number, depending on the date and time on when you did it. Because back then it used to be like address, house phone, maybe. I don't even think it was a house phone, to be honest. But point of it is, though, you're literally giving them information about your children and where you live and located at, what city and state, so they can mail you the pictures. Remember, they used to mail the pictures to you. Dog. Now, I ain't saying that's what they were doing in the files, because it hasn't came out yet on exactly what their role was and why they were mentioned in the files. But if you can translate that to nowadays, right? It's the same thing they do when they're building data nowadays. Phone companies do it. Temu did it. Sheen did it. They sell your email and stuff to other companies that want to send out blasts and track data, you know? Now, imagine back in the day what they was doing with that. Back before technology was able to track all this stuff, they was probably getting away with. Dog. And then if you go look back in history, like all the amount of kids that went missing and kids that still go missing to this day, bro, it makes sense.
How many of you remember growing up during a time where there was a kid's picture on the milk carton and said this kid was missing? You know, this didn't start with Jeffrey Epstein. This stuff has been going on for a long time. And like I said, they can replace him with someone else very easily. Here's another one that came out. Newly released documents show Epstein owned girls' clothing store Justice. Now, some of the women may be familiar with this. Justice, it was a store in the mall for younger girls. And it shows it here, June 25th, 2001, transfer of 2TOO Inc. That transfer there was done by Les Wexner. Same guy again. I'm telling you, all the financial shit goes back to Les Wexner. One of the first public complaints about sexual abuse goes back to Les Wexner. And that's why I said, of all the people that need to testify in front of Congress, it's that dude. So there was a transfer there. Something else that came through on the Epstein files. Remember when Donald Trump said that it was a lie? He didn't sign that birthday book for Jeffrey Epstein. According to the files, that was a lie. New Epstein file discusses the 2003 birthday book with the alleged birthday book note sent by Donald Trump, a note he denies writing. This email, which is redacted, explicitly notes requests for the birthday book from Trump. So you can see this right here. B-Day book update. Todd Meister says he never got the papers, so FedEx him a new set today. FYI, we sent the papers to him at the Regency Hotel weeks ago. LM for blank, George Mitchell, I don't know who this person is, redacted, Donald Trump, Henry Jarecki, and Leon Black. So there it is right there. Again, the B-Day book. Also, I want you to remember something. Again, they are showing you the names that they want you to see. There's millions of files that still were not released, and there's still a lot of names that are redacted. Basically, what I think the DOJ and the elites have decided is that these are going to be the fall guys. Those 6 names that they were able to unredact, that Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie announced, that's who the DOJ decided is going to be the fall guys. So those people aren't the head of the snake. That's how this works, ladies and gents. There's another one here. Listen to Representative Becca Balint. She also talks about the unredacted files. Listen to what she says here.
Just wanted to ask you, have you had a chance to review any of the unredacted files over at the DOJ, the Epstein files?
I did.
You did?
Yeah, I just came from there.
What can you tell us?
There's a bunch of sick fucks.
And I mean, anything more that we don't know? I feel like that's pretty well established.
I know. I think the part that is just so disgusting is that so many people knew.
Did he have any ties to any intelligence agencies? We've established some in our reporting, but wanted to know based on the file.
I only had about a half hour, so I'm going to go back again tomorrow. Okay. So mostly today, I was just trying to go through a couple of documents that was particularly interested in finding out.
What were those?
One was related to whether or not Trump, had ever kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago, as he claimed.
What'd you find?
It's not true.
It's a lie.
It's a lie.
Yep, because one of the documents in the Epstein file shows that Jeffrey Epstein, even after that date where Donald Trump said, well, I kicked him out and such, one of those documents showed that Jeffrey Epstein was having a conversation with someone else and said he was on his way to Mar-a-Lago. So all of these people, they're liars. MTG, she's no longer in Congress, but she's still commenting about this. Listen to her explain how everyone is covering it up.
Jeffrey Epstein was supposedly killed That's on an FBI form. That's not somebody calling in an anonymous tip or writing it on some deep, dark place in the internet. That's an actual FBI file stating what happened. And people are going to have to completely take in what they are seeing with their own eyes, what they're reading, and what they're being told. The reality is the Trump administration is not releasing the information. And I got yelled at by the president over this. This is why he called me a traitor. He called me a traitor because I would not take my name off the discharge petition, because I stood firmly and said, no, we're going to release the Epstein files. I'm standing with women who were raped as teenagers. I'm not standing with the government. I don't support the cover up of all of this stuff, whatever it may be. And the president got mad at me, and he told me, and I've said this multiple times, he told me his friends would get hurt. And that's what he told me. And then we're seeing a continued slow walk and cover up of a lot of this information. And I know that is why. I firmly believe that that's why it is being covered up. Look, Pam Bondi works directly for Donald Trump. She is not out there an independent attorney general. She can't just run out and do whatever she wants. She works at the pleasure and approval of the President of the United States. Everybody in the administration does. So does the FBI. They're under the very same pleasure and approval of the President of the United States.
What I tell you guys, so for all the times that people were like, it's Kash Patel, it's Dan Bongino, it's Pam Bondi, what did I tell you? They all work for him. So they are doing what Donald Trump wants them to do. As to me said, MTL looks better since she left office. Hell, she probably stress-free. The stress is probably gone, right? What do they say, that people like age faster when they get into politics or something like that?
So when everyone's getting mad at Pam Bondi, or you can name anybody you want. The man at the top is Donald Trump. He's the president. And he's the one that was completely against releasing the files when we started fighting to get them released. He's the one that called it a Democrat hoax. He's the one that, he invites everybody to the White House, but he will not invite these women that have defended him, by the way. They have defended him and said Donald Trump did nothing wrong. They have defended him, yet he doesn't bring them in the White House and support them. But what you're seeing is, if it looks like a duck, and if it quacks like a duck and it walks like a duck, it's a duck.
Or it might be a Lutnik.
Right.
Or it might be a Lutnik duck.
Quack, quack. And so here we go. And it's one of those things that I say, I think that it takes it's a reckoning. I think, for some people, this is a lot to deal with because they feel betrayed. And I'd say if you voted for Donald Trump and you feel betrayed, you were rightfully so to feel betrayed, because he's obviously ran on something that he really ain't, is not what he is. All these people are liars. And to make everything crazy, Ghislaine Maxwell and her crazy ass, she has the audacity to plead the fifth. This woman is stating that she will give information if she gets a pardon from Donald Trump. The gall of this woman. When I think about the lives that she ruined, for her to sit up there and say that she deserves a pardon, this woman has absolutely no regret. This woman has no remorse. That is a cruel, vindictive person. And she was not someone that just recruited girls for Jeffrey Epstein. Per Virginia Giuffre's own words, she participated in the abuse. This is what she said here in front of the Oversight Committee.
Ms. Maxwell, were you a close friend and confidant of Jeffrey Epstein?
I would like to answer your question, but on the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer this question and any related questions. My habeas petition is pending in the Southern District of New York. I therefore invoke my right to silence under the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution.
Let the record reflect that Ms. Maxwell has invoked the Fifth Amendment against self-incrimination. Ms. Maxwell, please be very clear. Are you declining to answer the question put to you solely on the ground that you believe the answer will incriminate you?
I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence.
Ms. Maxwell.
And that's all it is. It goes on and on with her saying, I invoke my Fifth Amendment right. So she's asking for some type of pardon. By the way, they showed pictures of her cell where she's staying. She's doing just fine. She does not have horrible prison cell-like conditions. So there's that. Now, some of the Congress members, after reviewing these unredacted files, they were approached. One of them being Lauren Boebert. Let me show you what she said.
Congresswoman, are you among the members who got to see the unredacted files today?
Yes, I saw some of them, not all of them, obviously. And I'll be going back tomorrow to see more.
Any reaction on what you've seen so far?
I think that there's folks who are definitely implicated and co-conspirators. And, I don't think everyone there that was talking about underage girls being trafficked are victims.
Got it. And do you support any clemency for Ghislaine Maxwell? She was saying that she
I
was...
do not.
Okay.
I think Ghislaine Maxwell should get more time, and she should definitely be in a harsher prison than what she's in. It's absolutely disgusting.
Got it. Thank you, Congresswoman.
These are people breaking away from Trump here a little bit, as you'll see. Lauren Boebert, she was also one of the ones that supported the release of the Epstein files. Here's Representative Luna when she was questioned.
Congresswoman, real quick, you said that you do not support at all Ghislaine Maxwell getting any clemency for her testimony. But why is it important for her to be held accountable?
Well, because according to the files that we all saw, she was engaged in the trafficking and also rape of young women and potentially children. I don't think that she deserves any special treatment. She's a monster.
And are you gonna...
A monster there. We'll go on to the next part here. I just want to remind you again, Kash Patel and his lying ass. What did he tell you?
No credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay.
There's no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
For the information that we have.
In the files?
In the case file.
Okay.
For the information that they had, they have the same information that we're looking at today. All these people need to resign. We can go further here and show you what happened when this question was brought up at Turning Point USA in Tampa, Florida, about the Epstein files. Again, this is a TPUSA event.
How many of you are satisfied? You can clap. Satisfied with the results of the Epstein investigation? Clap. Okay, I told you to clap. You guys aren't listening. I'm not going to grade you on a curve. So I was going to get to that. How many of you are not satisfied with the results of the investigation?
Donald Trump, you got a problem. Congress, you guys also, you have a problem. That's from TPUSA event. To sum this up this way, I saw this video of this guy and it went viral. He was in the airport in Atlanta. And I feel like everybody should feel this type of rage right now. For people laughing at him, asking him what's going on, what's wrong with him. Everybody should have this same type of energy.
Because the Epstein files have been released. All of y'all are acting fucking normal. Epstein files have been released. And all of y'all are acting normal. All of y'all are acting normal. They can laugh, but y'all can Google it. They can laugh, but y'all can Google it. The Epstein files have been released, and all of y'all are acting normal. All of y'all are acting normal.
Really
All of y'all are acting normal.
That man look like that now, man.
Fucking airport is acting normal.
Everybody's calling.
No, you shut the fuck up.
Oh, wait, don't say nothing.
Because the Epstein files, what I'm reading, and everybody in this room can read. If you go to Google right now, everybody in this room can read. They are eating babies. They are trafficking children. And if you think for a second any fucking thing in your life matters, you're on the fucking wrong side of history. You're on the fucking wrong side of history. It don't matter about this fight. It don't matter about who in this fucking airplane. It don't matter about this nigga walking past me right now. I don't.
You know, it's interesting because a lot of people were making fun of him, but the reality is everybody should be just as outraged. What he said is you guys are acting normal. And it's true. People are acting too damn normal. The number of things that I've seen in those files, and they just keep continuing every day. I'm disgusted by what I've seen in those files, whether it's been the images, whether it's been the emails. It is absolutely sick and disgusting. The rituals, them talking about cannibalism of babies, of freaking children, and everybody's just walking around like la di da di da. It's absolutely insane. And I have to say this for the victims as well. People don't realize that these women have been through it. People who are victims of sexual violence, sexual abuse, that changes their entire life. Do you understand? For these girls to have these things happen to them, especially as teenagers, this changes your life. Who can you trust? This can cause them to have problems down the road with developing relationships, a romantic relationship with a future partner. And this is why I felt some type of way when I saw people defending Noam Chomsky harder than they were defending these damn victims. That's when I knew people have lost the fucking plot. Some of you sit back and you pretend like you don't have sisters. You pretend like you don't have daughters. You pretend like you don't have mothers. Some of the comments that I have seen and other people online blaming and shaming the victims. What the hell is wrong with you? All to protect your politician. All to protect your academic hero. Children. So I think we have a long way to go as a society. We still have a way to go. Because I'm seeing the same people who say we care about the women and the children and we care about family values are online shaming the women who were children. So no, you don't care about the women and the children. You just care about fighting for your damn team. I said the same thing for the liberals who were like, oh no, they better not go after Bill and Hillary Clinton. No, get the fuck up out of here. Bill Clinton ain't never keep his damn hands to himself. Why are you pretending like, oh my God, I can't believe that they subpoena Bill Clinton. They want to talk to him. Bill Clinton has never kept his hands to himself. This guy slept with a fucking intern. Stop acting like these people are heroes and idols and get past your damn self and call out things for what they are. It's disgusting. I don't know what else to expect from here. Hopefully we can get more names out, but people need to be fucking arrested. Les Wexner needs to be called to testify in front of Congress. That's a sneaky motherfucker. That one right there. And they need to call him before he get his passport and he try to leave the fucking country. That guy should have been called a long damn time ago. And everyone else, Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, all these people who are running defense for these monsters, they're all complicit regardless of political party. Can we get that poll, Eric? We're going to do call in just a couple of minutes. I want to see the poll. I'll go ahead and bring that up as well. All right. I'm curious to see how many people knew. Thank you guys so much for the poll. Some of the Epstein names have been revealed. Have you seen the unredacted list? 6% said, yes, I know all the names. 5% said, yes, I don't know those names. So they saw it, but they didn't know the names. 20% said, yes, I saw it. I know some of the names. But 69% of voters said that they didn't see it. So that's interesting. Over 3,500 votes. Hey guys, this was a Sabby clip. If you like what you saw, hit that like button and subscribe.